So today I've woken up with a bit of a cold. The weather's fairly gloomy outside today and I think it's not going to get to very high temperatures, so I'm going to make myself a nice cup of tea and I'm going to go into the garden room and light the wood burner, which is what I do every day really. But I'm going to just light it a little bit earlier today because obviously the sooner we get that lit, the sooner we get some heat going in the house. Now we've got two wood burners all together. They're both Clearview stoves, and we've also got a Rayburn. So this is our Rayburn. We've had her for probably about a good 6 years now. We call her Rosie. She's solid fuel. We usually just burn wood on her because we've got a bit of a woodland outside, out the back, and we can get plenty of wood for her. So it's a bit of a no-brainer really, isn't it, when you've got free wood, although we do buy some wood in as well, but most of our wood is free. So she's fabulous. She heats the water and she runs radiators, and of course we can cook on her as well. So I'll be showing you a bit more about a little bit more of Rosie in the future, but today I'm just going to get on and get this cup of tea made and go and light the wood burner. I tend to use bottled water. We've got quite a big water filter, so we don't particularly like the taste of the tap water around here. We've got hard water, so we do tend to just use bottled water for most of cooking and drinking as well. It filters out all the bad things. So, which are you, milk first or tea first? I like to put my hot water in with a tea bag and get it to brew because I like a nice strong cup of tea. So it's always water first and then milk afterwards, and then you can see exactly how strong you're doing it. So I'll get this made and then I'll see you in the garden room later. So here we are, a cup of tea's made. Very welcome it is as well. Lovely. Right, so this is the Clearview 400 stove, and this is as we left it last night. We had the fire burning all day yesterday. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of ash in the bottom of the fire area. So what I usually do is just get a stick and just go around the outside. You don't want to remove too much of the ash because we burn wood, and wood just needs a base of ash. So That's all you need to do. And then I've got a wet tissue, and I usually just dip it into the ash, and I use that to clean the bottom of the door, because you do tend to get a little bit of soot built up. You can see there on the areas of the door. This is called a clear view stove, and basically it's got an air wash system, and that keeps the door clear, which is what you want, so you can see the flames. But obviously you're going to get a little bit of soot blackening the door. It's not a problem, it's very easy to clean. That's it, it's done now, so I can go ahead and light the fire. I do like to check that the ash pan's not too full. I don't mind if it's sort of fairly full. I just spread the ashes out a little bit, because they will burn down. They'll keep burning down to basically quite a small amount, so it's not a major issue to have an empty ash pan every time you light the fire. So I'm just going to go and get the fire lighter. I do have to excuse me sniffing. As I say, I've woken up with a cold this morning. So I use just a very simple gas lighter. It's really easy, very cheap, and you can refill them as well. So what I'm doing is I'm starting off with paper. I'll put a little bit of kindling in the bottom. We just use sticks. These are all just sticks that we cut from our trees. We dry them for a whole year, because any sort of wood that you're putting into your stove needs to be really dry. And I'll just throw a few of these into the base of the fire, and then a few smaller ones. We get through trays and trays of these every year, but it's all free wood, so why not? So then the paper goes in, and this paper is just basically any paper that we receive, receipts, bank statements, anything that you would otherwise maybe shred. It's a good way to get rid of them without leaving all of your details for anyone to come across. So then the next thing I do is I put in one of my homemade firelighters. And basically what this is it's a tea bag which has been dried out after I've used the tea bag, because I make lots of cups of tea, and then I dip it into candle wax. So I save all of my old like Yankee candles and that type of thing. When they get too far down that they don't burn, I just save them, and then I warm them up on the stove top in a pan. And then I dip the tea bag into the wax, and I pop it into egg boxes. So one tea bag per hole where the egg used to be, and then that makes firelighters. So that goes in the middle. And then I have a few very fine birch twigs. Again, these are offcuts actually from when I make my brooms, because I, as you know, or maybe don't know, I do make traditional besom brooms. We have a woodland outside of the back garden which we planted when we came here about 10 years ago. We planted lots of birch trees, and so now we've got lots of material. So I just open the vent a little bit at the bottom, and then I will light the tea bag. Once that catches, as you can see, it's fairly well going. So then I'll just add a few more twigs. At this stage, you sometimes get smoke coming out of the front. So when that happens, you need to be ready to shut the door pretty swiftly. And I'll just snap a few more twigs, put them on, And then when I close the door, I don't close it too. I'll open the spin wheel at the bottom. I know not all fires have these, they're all different, but this one does. So I open the spin wheel, I don't close the door too, I just leave it ajar, and you can hear the roar as the flames start to take hold. And this is the point where I usually just sit down and sup my tea. Oh, that's lovely. Very comforting. I hadn't realised, but when I looked out earlier, we have actually got a frost this morning, first one of the year. And we're November, mid-November, I think. We're about the 17th, I think, now of November. We didn't really have a very cold winter last year. I think we only had about 1 week of frosts. So the winters do tend to be milder now, especially before Christmas. Right, so the fire's going pretty well now. So this is the stage where then I'll add some bigger sticks of wood. We've got lots of sticks like this, mainly willow and birch and alder. And again, these sticks of wood have been seasoned. That means dried out for a whole year. You can hear the fire roaring. Again, I'm just pushing the door to. The spin wheel is open, and the vent at the bottom, which is actually the air wash vent, that is open a couple of inches as well. So the whole aim of this now is to get this chimney warmed up as quickly as possible, because if you don't get a good fire going first and get your chimney warmed up, then that can cause condensation, which can cause creosote to form, and then that would give you the potential hazard of having a chimney fire, which obviously you don't want. Now we've got a fan, I don't know if you can see that, we've got a fan on top of the stove there, but also I should just show you, we have got a fan on the side of the flue there. And when we get to temperature, that fan will start to go round as well. So I'll leave this a little bit higher up so you can see when that fan starts to go round. Okay, so I'll probably put a little bit more fuel on. We do have bigger logs. We've got a basket here with lots of logs in. As I said to you, we do buy these in. These are all varying sizes. I don't know actually what wood that is, but we have to buy wood in because the Rayburn eats a lot of wood, because she's working very hard. She's heating the water and the radiators as well. So when we get pieces of wood that are a little bit too long for her, because she's only got quite a narrow firebox, so when we get wood that's a little bit too long, then I tend to put it in this one. And then if it's too long for this one, the stove that we've got in the lounge, that's a Clearview 500 Vision, and that one will take even slightly longer pieces of wood. So yeah, this is very comforting. You can't beat a real fire really, can you? And we've got a good lot of flame going on there. I'm going to put a few more of these logs on. And at this stage I'm just going to clip the door handle behind the catch. The wheel's still open, when the wheels open, that draws the air up from underneath through the fire. So if you, when you've got your fire lit, if you find that the fire's quite not really taking hold very well, if you open the spin wheel on this type of fire, then the air will rush through from the bottom, and usually will get your fire going pretty nicely. So all there is now for me to do is drink my tea, and when the fan starts to go, which is up here, when that starts to go round, then I know that the flue is nice and hot, and then I can close everything down. So what I'll do, I'll show you now how it would be. So we're assuming that the fan's going round nice and fast. So then I will close the door completely, tightly, and then I would close the spin wheel completely, tightly, and then I would leave the bottom, this just pushes in and out, and I would leave that open for probably between 1.5 inches and 2 inches, and then that can be pushed in and out depending on how well the fire's going. So I'm just going to open the door a little bit more now and open that spin wheel, because I want to make sure that this fan up here is going round nice and fast. It's going round at the moment, but I want it to spin fast, and that shows that the flue is nice and hot, and then that will avoid any problems with condensation from having a cold flue. So I think that will sort of do for today. So this fire will stay lit now for the rest of the day. I'll put a bigger log on. I'll be going outside later because I've got work to do. As a broom maker, I'm outside quite a lot, and I will be gathering my materials for my brooms, and then a bit later I've got a couple of brooms to wrap up because people are buying now for Christmas, so it's quite a busy time. Alright, so I'll say goodbye to you, and I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope the weather's nice for you. I think it's going to brighten up later, which is what we normally get when we get a frosty morning. So bye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.